You're looking all cute. Hey, y'all like these jeans? It's sort of like I got my bedazzler and couldn't stop. Do y'all remember that thing we used to do, the bedazzler? It made a comeback lately, didn't it? There's, you know, and you get started and you can't really stop with that thing. It's one of those toys that was popular back when we were like in 3rd grade. Women that are my age, do you remember the first time it came around? We were bedazzling everything that didn't move. We all looked like Glenn Campbell. It's just stupid, wasn't it? And if you happen to just move the wrong way and get your finger caught under there, who thought this was a good idea for 9-year-olds? Sad, hurtful people. But toys were dangerous back in the day. How many of you remember growing up, the toys were had a little cruel edge to them, didn't they? How many of you had an easy bake oven growing up? How did you make it to adulthood? Who thought that was a great idea? Hey, let's take an exposed bulb and put it in some plastic casing and see if it won't melt. And give it to children to play with. Do you remember that? In our house, it was always like a race to see if the plastic was gonna melt before the cake got done. Which one? And the thing only came with 4 cake mixes. Do you remember that? How irritating is that? 4, you can only do it 4 times and it's over. It took me 3 to get the hang of it. I made 1 good cake and then the whole thing is over. And where I grew up in Texas, we didn't have Toys R Us. Okay, we were out in the country. There were no Toys R Us every 10 miles. Where I lived, it was Toys Tough Out of Luck. You had to special order that from New York City, and we just were not going to spend the money to do that. So I made it 4 times, and it was over. How many of you remember the other toy kin to that called the Light Bright? I'm so thankful we got women of an age in the room today. Because Light Bright was another version of put the exposed bulb in the plastic casing, right? And except this time you shoved pegs at it. Duh. And my mom would come in the room and say, "Why is it so hot in here?" "I'm baking you something and making a pretty light picture, Mom." I mean, we had crazy, dangerous toys, don't you think? I mean, back in the day, that was terrible. But you know what? It's amazing any of us survived to adulthood, am I right? Because we slept in rooms with lead paint, went to school with asbestos in the ceiling tiles, and drank the water straight out of the tap. How did we get to this point in our life?